Well, the number 2 offense from a season ago found their swag on Sunday. Completely different team from week 1. Maybe that was their 4th preseason game heading into week 2. Oh well. Josh Allen, the offense, having no problem there. Find the end zone multiple times. 5 trips to be exact against the Dolphins. Rolling past them 35-0. And if you had Buffalo, you were good money in week 2. Speaking of good money, let's check out our John Breech's picks here from week 2. Against the spread 3-2. Straight up 4-1, not too bad. Hit on Denver, Buffalo, New England, the misses there, Kansas City, and Arizona. Look, if you had my chance at it, of course, I had KC at 3, and also Arizona because, look, both those quarterbacks have been balling since week 1. So you win sometimes, lose sometimes. All right, let's get into the Breech here, week 3, with our guy, John Breech, and those picks for week 3 we're talking about here. Is this the week, by the way, we go to Cabo after all this is done?
Oh, after a 5-0 week. So
okay,
we'll see. We gotta wait. We gotta wait and see till Monday night.
Okay, well let's start it off here. Patriots and Saints. Patriots get -3 here. Mac Jones, solid first win. Jameis Winston, not so good. What we saw against him for Carolina there. Which way are you leaning, and what's your play here?
Yeah, here's what I see about this game is the idea of Jameis Winston going up against a Bill Belichick defense seems like a total mismatch to me. Jameis Winston played most of his career with Tampa Bay, has got to avoid Belichick for the most part, hasn't had to really face him. So now you're going to go out there 1 week after we saw Jameis struggle against the Panthers. He had one of those games that, when the Saints signed him, it was, what's Sean Payton going to do? Jameis Winston's an interception machine. He didn't look like that in week 1. He looked fantastic, then comes out and throws 2 interceptions against the Panthers, which is kind of worrisome because now confidence is down. He's going into New England where he has to face this Belichick defense. So I don't see how the Saints are going to produce much offense on Sunday. However, the big question for me here is I'm not sure the Patriots are going to be able to because now you have Mac Jones going up against the Saints defense. I think Mac Jones is a little bit safer with the ball. I don't think that either of these teams are going to put up a ton of points, but I don't think the Saints are going to score much at all. So I like the Patriots to win and just barely cover that 3-point spread.
All right, so James will be in the W here in week 3 as we look at that one, as you just mentioned there. Let's move to the NFC East. Cowboys and Eagles Monday night. Dallas, of course, coming off their first win out in L.A. against the Chargers, also coming in at -4 here.
Yeah, this is an interesting game because one thing to keep in mind here, this is the Cowboys' home opener. They are going to be fired up. They are one of only 3 teams in the NFL that had to play their first 2 weeks on the road, getting to play their home opener in week 3. And I think one thing that has really been impressive about the Cowboys this year is their defense. And I know that's surprising to say after they gave up 31 points in week 1. But you know what? This unit was horrible last year. And what Dan Quinn has been able to do in just 2 weeks has been nothing short of a miracle. And obviously it helps to have someone like Micah Parsons on that roster now who has been a great addition for the Cowboys. And then offensively, Dak Prescott looks like Dak Prescott. He looks completely comfortable. He looks like he's not even fazed by the fact that he was coming back from injuries. He looks 100% healthy. And the Eagles just look like they're still trying to figure things out. They couldn't get things going against the 49ers. Obviously only scored 11 points. So I think the Cowboys might win this one by double digits. So I am going to take them to cover this 4 points easily.
You mentioned defense here, 6 turnovers in the past 2 games, so completely different from a season ago when it comes to the Cowboys. And Jerry's world, you got to get a W there when you open the season there in week 3. Bucs and Rams, this might be a pick 'em here because you got to think about Tom Brady. We saw what he did, 5 touchdowns, but then Matthew Stafford looks really good with the Rams here.
Yeah, Tom Brady has been on a roll, 9 touchdown passes through the first 2 weeks, which is the second most of any quarterback in NFL history through 2 weeks. The Buccaneers are on a 9-game winning streak dating back to last season. The NFL record, 30 points or more in each of those 9 games. They've been unstoppable. But you know what? This is the one game. The Rams are the one team that might be able to stop the Buccaneers freight train. Because look, if Tom Brady, if there's one way to beat him, it's by putting a bunch of pressure on him and kind of flustering him. It's hard to do that, but if there is one team that can do that, it is the Rams and Aaron Donald. We kind of saw it last year. These 2 teams actually faced each other. Brady struggled all night. He threw 22 incompletions, a couple interceptions, and I expect to see more of the same. I think the Rams are going to be able to get pressure on Tom Brady. And defensively, the Buccaneers feel like they've taken a step back, and it's kind of been masked and maybe people haven't noticed because their offense has been so good. But the Buccaneers defense hasn't looked great through the first 2 weeks of the season. I know we saw those 2 pick sixes against Matt Ryan in the fourth quarter, but I attribute that more to the Falcons not being very good than the Buccaneers making it happen. So I think that Matthew Stafford is going to have a huge game, and I think the Rams are going to win. As you can see, it's a pick 'em, so boom. They win, they cover.
All right, look, we tend to forget, look, Brady is 44. I'm just curious, how many TDs you think he's getting this weekend?
Not 44. I'm going to say 2, which is a low number for Brady after going for 5 and then 4.
All right, okay. So you said ultimately it comes down to defense. Another game, it may come down to that. Washington at Buffalo, the Bills getting 9 in this one. Could come down to those units there, but you kind of like Washington to cover.
Yeah, I do. See, this is a fascinating game because you look at 2 teams that were carried. The Bills were carried by their offense last year and Josh Allen. And that offense just Josh Allen hasn't looked as good this year as he did last year. He struggled against the Steelers in week 1. And even though we saw the Bills blow out the Dolphins 35-0 in week 2, it wasn't because Josh Allen suddenly turned it on and played an MVP level. He barely completed 50% of his passes. He still didn't play a great game. So on one hand, Bills fans probably feeling pretty good because they won 35-0 without Josh Allen playing great. But now that you're playing another good defense, you have to worry a little bit because if he keeps playing the way he's playing, you're not going to beat good teams. And then on the other hand, you have Washington, whose defense carried him last season, and now that defense hasn't been playing this great this season. So now you have this Washington defense been kind of an unknown quantity this year, and Josh Allen, who's been kind of struggling. Something has to give. I just think 9 points is too much for the Bills to win by with Allen struggling. And you look at Washington in their last 6 losses, they've all been by single digits. This is a tough team to blow out. So I am going to take Washington to cover that monstrous 9-point spread.
All right, you can come down in the trenches when it comes to Washington. Also, their quarterback Taylor Heineke there. When it comes to the Texans and Panthers, we don't know what Davis Mills can do. Taking on the Panthers, you got to deal with Christian McCaffrey and also now Sam Darnold as well. They're coming in at 7.5. What you play in this one?
Yeah, this is a pretty big point spread, especially when you consider that it is a home underdog in a primetime game. You never want to pick against those, but I'm going to here. Look, the Panthers, I think, have been one of the most surprising teams in football this year, and I'm not sure who's been more surprising, their offense or their defense. I mean, we saw Carolina absolutely shut down the Saints on Sunday, and that was the Saints offense that put up 38 on the Packers. I think one thing about Carolina is that when they beat the Jets in week 1, there was kind of a collective yawn, like, it's the Jets. How do we know if they're any good? But after seeing what they did to the Saints in week 2, I am absolutely sold on Carolina. I am sold on Sam Darnold. I think the Panthers are going to make a statement in prime time, and they are going to roll to a double-digit win and cover those 7.5 points.
All right, we saw what happened. By the way, last week you had on Kansas City red, and now it looks like you got on Panthers blue. Is that something that you're setting up here? I'm just curious.
Maybe. We'll see if that trend comes up if the team I actually pick wins, since I apparently jinxed the Chiefs last week. So.
I know.
But I don't want to say who this color is for yet.
Okay. All right. Appreciate it. John Breech, as always, my friend. Take care. You catch it with the Pick Six Pod, of course, with Will Brinson and Ryan Wilson. Of course, recapping week 2, then looking ahead to week 3, how some of those big games, of course, Aaron Rodgers getting it done against the Lions, back in the win streak there after that 35-17 W. Download and follow and listen to the guys.
Want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.